And now, live from Judd's Hill Winery in the beautiful Napa Valley, it's Wine Booty!
Started out on a chip, leafing on sky. Judd was in the barrel room, drinking in the sweet. Something caught his eye. The stray and hollow barrel had something mystified. Like Columbus on the shore, Judd was really taken. Bravely crawled inside. He came out of the barrel to smell the salty air. And that was only the iceberg tip, where Judd was on a pirate ship inside a pirate's lair. The pirate turned a rivalry, was told he had to go with fists of gold, a flagon of brew, and honest to goodness video crew. They lifted up their glasses to Judd's Wine Booty Show.
Guest starring Gerald Casale. An iconic musician, director, and wine aficionado, Wine Booty welcomes Gerald Casale. With your host, Judd
Wine aficionado and a guest housekeeper. Welcome.
I just had to space it out because I'm petrified of pirates.
Well, he seems to be awfully fond of you.
I can see that.
First thing I want to ask you about, of course, because I've been such an admirer of your music for years and years and years, is of course I want to talk about Devo, but this is Wine Booty, and we're here to talk about wine. So tell me how Devo made you a wine aficionado.
Oh, quite by accident, and a fortunate one. I grew up in the hinterlands of northeastern Ohio. Yeah. The way I grew up, the only exposure I had to wine was like Mogan David. And cheese was Velveeta. So I couldn't understand, why did people like wine and why did they like cheese? It was disgusting.
So you didn't understand that people could like wine?
No, I didn't know why. Horrible. And then when I went to Kent State University, I met some students from out of state that knew something, and they happened to be from New York. I got turned on to wine that you could actually drink, and so I started to get the bug, but I had no knowledge and I had no money. And then when Devo started to break, and we started to travel and tour, and promoters would say, "Hey Devo, how would you like to go to this vineyard, visit this vineyard?" The other four guys in the band would go, "Oh no, we want to go shopping." And I'll go, "I'll go."
Yeah.
And it started like that, where these opportunities were being thrown at us that you only get when you're a public figure. And it was, it changed my life. Visiting these vineyards, inevitably the people were incredibly gracious, knowledgeable, take you into their cellars, let you taste some of their wines from previous vintages. A lot of them had chefs, and you eat right there.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I learned about California wine last, and that was because of my association with what you could call new wave chefs, because this at the same time music changed radically in the late 70s, so did the idea of cuisine in California. This was the land of booty, before booty meant ass.
Or pirate treasure.
And so, the state of California was transforming itself way ahead of the nation, and I met Bruce Martyr and Wolfgang Puck and Celestino Drago and Michael McCarty.
All these chefs that were driving that California cuisine.
Yeah, and they were inevitably fans of the new music. And the fact that I liked what they were doing.
And they liked what you were doing.
And they weren't big stars yet, they weren't jaded, they would be, "Come on in, drink this, here, taste this with this." And I was a willing student, I was an automatic addict, and it changed everything. So I became really, really fascinated and focused on that. Started to learn why, like how things were made, how tough it was to make good wine, how much work went into great ingredients.
Did you ever get to work any of these places? Did you ever visit in harvest and get in there and do punch downs or lug hoses around or get that kind of intimate working knowledge of winemaking?
I never got to go that far, but I certainly was in on it when it was happening. And you know, they would never let you do anything halfway important because they knew you were a rube and you might screw it up. And that just gave me more and more respect to watch how much hard work was going on and how people knew what they were doing. So that is how it happened. But none of the other guys in the band took to it. None of them grabbed that opportunity.
And your brother's in the band. You guys grew up in the same household,
Yes.
but somehow that interest didn't follow through with him.
They went shopping.
Well, my mom's in the audience, I'm going to point out. And I remember your brother mentioned to me when we saw you in San Francisco that one of his favorite memories of Napa Valley was visiting Whitehall Lane Winery back in the mid-'80s, I think.
That's true.
And he got very excited, and I think you pointed at me and said, "That's his mom and dad."
Yeah.
So,
he only went there because he thought it was a bowling alley.
yeah, Whitehall Lanes.
Yeah, he thought it was an S on it.
Of course.
And no, it just...
So as you approach wine, is there a certain, I mean, you're obviously an artistic guy. Are you looking for wines that speak to you in some way or that you feel are artistic themselves, are expressing something to you? What is it that you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think wine obviously mirrors any other aesthetic pursuit in life where in the beginning, if you're interested, if you're excited, if you're inquisitive, you like everything. And then suddenly you start to realize, oh, I don't really like that as much as that. And how did I ever like that? And so on. And I did that, you know, and when you're younger, if you're especially a guy, I think you drink these big kick-ass wines because you want them to pull you over. I mean, they're so syrupy you could put them on ice cream, you know, but I mean big cabs, big Syrahs. And slowly, I became a Pinot Noir junkie. And that was, I could find a Pinot Noir for every occasion and to match every food I like to eat.
Obviously, we were watching some of your videos earlier, and there is a definite look that goes through. There's a consistency.
Yeah.
There is an aesthetic.
Well, you know, Devo was short for de-evolution. And God, where we were growing up in northeastern Ohio and what we were seeing was the antithesis of the future that had been promised in the 50s and 60s, you know, the Mad Men era where there was going to be the end of disease and flying cars and, you know, great futuristic technology to take care of all our needs and end famine. What we were seeing was people were getting dumber, meaner, less able to think conceptually. Everything was getting more imitative and more menial. Like the conversation, even on the news, was getting more and more dumbed down.
Right.
Devo was a response to that kind of like outrage and despair, but with a sense of humor and satire. So
Yeah, certainly.
people accused us right away because it was a DIY aesthetic. You know, it was no money, do everything yourself when nobody cared. Everybody said, these guys, you know, they're stupid, they're infantile. And I went, that's right. You better believe we're infantile. We're infantile on purpose. There's a plan here. Like we're serious about our job. Oh, Boogie Boy?
Please, people, John Lee Hooker warned us. Wine, women, and whiskey. Gonna be the death of me. Stop this right now. I love you.
Wine, women, and whiskey? What? Boogie Boy, what are you doing here? Oh, great. I don't understand Boogie Boy. I never did. I never did.
That guy follows you around, doesn't he?
Well, he became the infantile spirit of de-evolution because he was a big baby.
Yeah. Is that what he represents in the in the videos?
He's kind of like he's innocent and moronic, and in that sense, pure. Yeah. And now I don't know what's going to happen. I told you I'm petrified of pirates. I mean, you said he liked me, but you know, lions like you too, just before they eat you.
Fabulous.
Anyway, I'm a Napa Valley interloper now because my friend, who is lucky for him, bought 24 acres on Monticello Road up above near Robert Craig, and he knows nothing about wine. He bought the 24 acres because he loves it up here, and because he's an architect in his own mind. But he appreciates the finer points of architecture, and he's a collector. Oh my God. My God.
Uh-oh.
That's just great.
Captain, what have you done?
Just took care of one wee bit of problem.
I mean, Boogie Boy frustrated me and exasperated me, but I don't think he deserved that.
Would you like to take that back to the rest of the guys as this little souvenir?
I don't know how I'm going to get that on the plane.
Oh, well, you can drain it of fluid. As long as it's less than 3 ounces of fluid, that should be fine.
He went to visit the living heirs to the Mies van der Rohe family in Chicago, and Mies in 1950 designed a house that he called the 50 by 50, and the house was a 2,500 square foot house because people didn't have to live in McMansions back then, and it was designed to have 10 foot high by 25 foot wide glass walls. So only a single partition in each side of the square house, all glass. So people who live in glass houses, but the only place you can live in one is like on this piece of property he bought where no neighbor sees you. And he got permission from the Mies van der Rohe family to take the plans of the house that was never built and build it. He charged me with the task of making his first wine, and just about the time he charged me with doing that is when I met Judd. And we bought some really fine Pinot Noir, Pomard clone, and Dijon 667 clone, and the wine is being made here. And it turned out 2012 was a perfect growing season, an incredible vintage. So we're really excited that the 50 by 50 will be the inaugural launch of the brand, and I'm the proprietor.
It's fantastic. You know, we're thinking...
Now, we won't be trying to grow Pinot Noir on the property up on Monticello Road.
Yeah, that's not Pinot country. That's, you want some nice hardy Bordeaux variety.
That's going to be some serious stuff, yeah.
So I'll ask your opinion, since it's something that comes up, if not daily, a couple times a week in our own tasting room. Folks ask about the glassware. You know, is it important to have proper glassware for the enjoyment of wine?
Well, yeah, you know, that was one of the first lessons I actually learned from a sommelier who, you know, came in and said, you know, people poo-poo the idea that what you drink it out of makes all this difference. So they set up a porcelain cup, a plastic to-go cup, several kinds of crystal, including, you know, the much touted ones like Riedel, Spiegel, and the, what is it?
The Schatzwiesel, anybody?
Yeah.
Any sommeliers? Did I say that right? Schatzwiesel, yeah.
Now, when it got to those, it was, for me at that point, it was pretty impossible to see the nuances between them. I mean, it was all good.
All good.
But what we didn't have back then, and what no one had discovered,
Yes.
was that the Devo Energy Dome provided a whole other kind of source for tasting wine.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I've always wanted to try this. I know you're a Pinot Noir fan.
Yeah.
So let's find out.
Yeah.
Aerating it properly.
Yeah.
You know, I just opened it. You gotta get a little breathing time in there.
It's like the Riedel Sommelier series. You put the whole bottle in it.
We're gonna volatilize the esters, correct?
Yeah. And the reason this
Well, here,
works
I'll let you do the honors.
Yeah, the reason this works is the proportions of this Devo Energy Dome were based on Wilhelm Reich's orgone therapy box. So that box was designed to trap the energy that escapes from your body and recycle it and put you in a meditative state. That's what the
This will
Devo
put you in a
hat
meditative state. Let's go.
does. That's what the Devo hat does.
Okay.
Now, the best way to do this would just be to put this on your head and let it come down your body. I'm not going to do that. But
I got an extra 5 in it for you if you do.
Yeah. But this,
Okay.
what this does is this aerates it in a geometric manner and adds the most important, bizarre kind of interference, but a good one. A good one that's modern. You know, we talk about macrobiotics, we talk about, I mean, this fits in with the culture because this is ABS plastic. Now, ABS plastic has plenty of PCBs in it.
Oh, good.
That's how you end up like this, lad.
This will fry your synapses quicker than methadone.
Great. Well, down the hatch.
Pass it around. Pass it around.
Are you sensing those PCBs? Are you getting
Yeah.
subtle overtones of strawberry and violets with?
It's modern. Plastic and organic at the same time.
Wow.
In fact, I'd have to borrow a term from the pirate. It's arg wine.
Wine. I feel twice as smart. 2 energy domes.
See, it has a long finish that way.
It is a beautiful world.
Yeah.
Let's let some other folks. Who might think of it? Pass that around. Who wants a little of that? What's a little of our Judd Still Pinot Noir 2009? I think you'll enjoy it. Oh, I've lost my microphone. The Devo Dome.
Just make me smarter, right?
Yeah, well, no, well, hey, what are you gonna do? Where was I? There is something in that. I'm gone now. What happened?
It is that combo. It's the fusion of the PCBs with the organic wine.
So your wine, this Pinot, it's going to be marketable. You're going to have it out there. You're going to be looking for accounts. It's going to be in the finest restaurants.
We're hoping it lives up to that, yeah.
Yeah. Is there? There's no tie-ins with the band and that type of market.
No, I mean, other than people who know who I am, we're not trying to push that angle at all because too many public figures in music and film have made terrible wines, like celebrity wines. And this is serious. This is going to be not a one-off idea here. It's going to get better and better.
You don't want to be part of that milieu of celebrity.
No, people
Vintners.
just like write it off. They go, what, Devo wine? Right, I'm buying that.
If you did, you'd have a cork, kind of like
Yeah.
this, or you stop or something.
Although Sammy Hagar did very well with Cabo Wabo.
Yeah, tequila. He's got a rum.
Tequila. That's a different thing. That's the hard stuff.
Oh, so I was going to ask you, when you're out on tour,
Yes.
and many bands have riders, things that must happen or be provided to them, and there's the crazy ones like the red M&Ms and whatnot that we hear about. Do you ask for wine? Or how about this? Not wine in the dressing room, but do you get to write the wine list for the venue that you're appearing in for that night? I think that would be something.
That would be
These
wonderful.
wines approved by Gerald Casale.
No, I mean, I don't ask for wine, and I can tell you why. It's always so awful.
Yeah.
We leave it right there on the table, and then the promoters bitch. We bought those guys wine, and they didn't even drink it. They didn't even appreciate it. And because it's like undrinkable. We usually just have a rider that eliminates almost everything that they put in your dressing room.
Oh, is that right?
Because
Minimalism.
What they put in your dressing room are lunch meats, cold cuts, smelly cheap cheeses. I mean, the whole room smells like somebody barfed in it when you get there. And
These are good descriptors. You use this when you're writing about your
barnacles and all them things,
barnacle, yeah.
So it's like, okay, no. Bottled water, fresh berries.
Gerald, I am so pleased that you have joined us here today on Wine Booty, and it makes me just so upset to have to now tell you, and I have no control over this, it's in his rider to appear on the show, that he is now going to, make you walk the plank. So I hope to see you again. I hope you're a good swimmer. And
I mean, why didn't I know?
if you need another swig from the Energy Dome or from the tankard before we give you a little bravery, just take a swig off of that, and that'll,
Arg.
yo ho ho.
Worse than you had before, lad.
So I want to thank you very much, gang.
Thank you.
Before you go, give us the name of the wine one more time so we can look it up, and I'm sure there'll be a website people can Google.
In honor of Mies Van Roy House, it's called the 50 by 50 Pinot Noir, Sonoma Coast.
And on that note, into the drink with you.
That's it. I don't even get to go to the George Bush Library first.
Well, we'll see about that. But come on, follow me out.
Goodbye. Gerald, thanks again. Okay. He's about to become a victim of collision on the open sea.
Any questions before I start drowning and choking? If I was going to make a Devo wine, I guess there would have to be some
Miraculously.
smart-ass twist to it, wouldn't there? Like, you have ideas. That's the way we'd market the wine. Better than real. It'd have to have some brand new chemical in it. Like presented as a great thing. Kind of the way Monsanto has destroyed all of our lives. Well, that's where you get paid for ideas. GMO Pinot Noir. I know. Drowning takes a long time. No joke. Final thought is that I'm really hoping that this venture really works out. I'm really fortunate to have met Judd when I did, Judd Yeh. And everybody's been so incredibly nice and easy to work with and informative. And I'm just hoping this goes on, and I'm hoping I see you all again in one way or another for those free bottles of Scarecrow and when Tara opens the doors, just say, pay what you can, eat what you want.